We've all had those moments where we take our art way too serious. It's never fun, we cry, it's stressful, and we end up just taking a break from art and then feeling guilty because we're not creating. The solution? Just don't take it too serious. Except it's not that easy. I struggle with this just as much as the next person. And to combat that, today I am going to be drawing with my non-dominant, completely useless left hand. I know this is going to be hilariously bad, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. The idea of sitting down and creating something and not stressing about how perfect it looks feels really reassuring. By the end of this, I hope that I just enjoy creating without any stresses. Because that's the point of art, isn't it? To enjoy creating. Let's get into it. I wanted to give myself the best chance at succeeding with this, so I decided to just do a study of a side profile because I know that that's something I'm comfortable with. So this is my reference photo. Immediately, it felt so foreign and so weird to be using my left hand. There was absolutely no fluidity. It was just an absolute disaster to begin with. Like, I knew it was going to be bad. I just didn't know it was going to be that bad. Like, at this point, I was like, this was a mistake. Because my brain was saying one thing and my hand was like, nah, dude, I don't have to do that. It felt so shaky. And like, I just felt so unsure of what I was doing. That little like blob off the main shape was supposed to be the bun, which is crazy because it was so like it's like, how did my observational skills end up taking a toll by just switching the hand I was using? I don't know, maybe I was overcompensating in terms of like trying to get my lines right. My trick for this was to use a pretty big brush so that my mistakes weren't so obvious, and you'll see that it starts to get like a lot thicker throughout because I'm just going over and over and over parts, just trying to make them look okay. I think in this situation, having a traditional art background really helped because I knew that I could like carve away things that I didn't love. And I literally just go over these lines so much, like an embarrassing amount, just trying to pretend that it looks okay at this point. I will be completely honest. I was feeling like a tiny bit down because even though I've never done this before, I thought that maybe I would do better. Like, I felt like my observational skills is what was lacking the most. I knew going in that the dexterity would be off by a lot, but I thought that I could sort of rely on the fact that I'm relatively good at observing things and getting that right. And yet, at this point, I was like, what am I doing? I started off just sort of scribbling in color because I didn't trust myself with the lasso tool, but then eventually I decided to just erase that and go in with the lasso tool. Even if the lines are wonky, it'll be more cohesive. And I'm really happy I did that because this looks a lot better than those lines that I had. So at this point, my Apple Pencil died and I had to take a break and let it charge. And when I started back up, I forgot to press record. So at this point, I had cleaned up some of the lines off camera. And now I'm just going in with the liquify tool to sort of fix the mistakes I made in terms of anatomy. I didn't realize how bad it was until I closed my iPad to charge my pencil and then opened it back up and saw. I mean, the neck was like way off. How did I do that? It's funny because when I was a kid, like 7 or something, my grandmother, she had a like one of those mirror cabinets in her guest bathroom. And one day when I was a kid, I was so sneaky. I just loved the thrill of doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing because I was like a generally good kid. So I just wanted to like, no, I'm bad. So I opened up her little mirror cabinet just to see what was in there. And I felt so sneaky. And then I saw that she had nail polish in there. And like I saw my mom always doing her nails, and like my sister was starting to do her nails. And I was like, I'm gonna steal some of this nail polish. And so for some reason, I painted one of my nails on my right hand. Like, I don't know why I chose the harder hand to paint. Immediately the smell hit me and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna get in trouble. There's no way that they're not gonna smell this. I'm gonna get in so much trouble. And so I'm like fanning it out, like trying to get rid of all the smell before I open the door. And I'm like trying to dry my fingernail as well. I think it was like my pinky finger. So I walk out and I'm like trying to like keep like a cool, like, no, I didn't do anything I wasn't supposed to be doing. And they had just set the table for dinner. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And I sit down and I realize I have to eat my food with my right hand because I'm right-handed. And super quickly, I was like, no, I'm just gonna eat it with my left hand. No one's gonna notice. Let me tell you, they immediately noticed. And they were like, why are you eating with your left hand? Did you hurt yourself? What's going on? And once again, very quickly, I came up with an excuse, which was I am trying to practice using my left hand just in case I ever need to use my left hand, like if I can't use my right hand. And they were like, oh my God, that's actually really smart. And I felt really cool for getting away with it, and that my family thought I was smart. But as soon as I got home, I absolutely got rid of that as quick as I could because I was terrified of getting caught. But anyway, back to the drawing. I just went in with the lasso tool and quickly filled in the colors. I had cleaned up the shapes a little bit. It's a little rough still, but erasing away things and sort of sculpting it really helped, I think, make it look more intentional, we'll say. At this point, I was feeling a lot more confident about how it was looking, and I think my arms started to feel a little bit less weird. It still felt very awkward, but it just, I think like the brain was connecting to the hand a little bit at this point. At this point, I start going in with the lasso tool to do like highlights and shadows and that sort of thing. And this is where it starts looking horrific again because my shapes were so off. Like it's all so random. And I admit that when I'm doing art with my right hand, it's also very random. But this just went to a whole new level. But I kept going. I knew that I would, you know, smudge things out a little bit later, clean it up, do the best I can. So that is what I did. I also tried keeping this relatively short because I didn't want this video to be super long. I don't want to have to do a ton of cuts just because I want you to have the full experience of everything that happened here. I will admit though, this feels like the boring part, just like rendering. Do other people feel that way? Like the rendering part is sort of boring to watch, and it's the sketching part and like setting everything up that is more exciting. Let me know in the comments if you like prefer to see the rendering process like fully, or if you just like the initial part of like sketching and putting the colors down and like sort of getting the vibe. I'm also doing all of the masks on a separate layer, and when I'm happy with them, I'll just merge it down into the first layer. I'm not really someone that's big on like lots of layers. Because I have a traditional background, I just feel more comfortable working in a more traditional sense. I still love using the tools that digital has available to me, but when I have so many layers, I just get confused. And then I'll like try to fix something or smudge something, and I have to go through all these layers, and it's just like, I can't be bothered. So I mostly just work on one layer and add things on a separate layer and then merge down. Now I'm just going in and adding texture, cleaning up some of the sharp edges, making it look a little bit more painterly, giving it a little bit of life. I'm not being super particular. I sort of gave up in the beginning with trying to be particular with my left hand. I'm mostly just sort of carving away things and sculpting, so to speak. That's really how I like to see my work process, is just sculpting and chiseling away at bits. At this point, I go in with some darker shadows to try to push the contrast a little bit. I'm usually kind of scared of contrast, if I'm being totally honest. I don't know if I love it in my own work, but I felt like it really needed something to sort of push it a little bit more. And I think it was the right decision. I think it definitely pops a little bit more. Here I'm just smudging everything out a little bit just to sort of soften up any of the sharpness and the mistakes and sort of make it look a little bit more fuzzy and not so serious. This is like a big tip that I have, a trick that I like to use, is if things are looking not quite right, just smudge over them a little bit and then go back over and try again with the details. And it typically works for me. And I like the way that it has like a dreamy sort of feel sometimes. We're nearing the end here. The details are coming in. I am doing my best to fix things up that look a little off, and also doing my best to just accept that some of it's not going to look great. If I had like, you know, an hour more, I'm sure I could have really cleaned it up, but I really wanted to keep the organic nature of this experience intact. Like if I kept going, my hand would have felt a little bit more at ease and more natural, and you know, if I polish it up perfectly, you're not going to get the same vibe, I guess. So I really wanted to keep it short and succinct and just focus on doing my best in the time allotted for me. Honestly, I'm really proud of this, and I know it's not my best work, but I think objectively it doesn't look bad. I think because I went into this with the idea that it would look terrible and it would be hilarious, I felt less pressure, so now I can be happy with the result. And I think that's taught me a significant lesson about my normal work, and that is that maybe I shouldn't take it too serious. It's tricky because we want to take our art seriously because we care about it, and we should take things we care about seriously. But we also can't get lost in that and lose the excitement we have for creating and doing something that we love. If you want to see me do this again, but with color and a more challenging reference photo, please let me know, because I would happily do it again. I also suggest that you do it. Just go into it expecting it not to be very good and have a good time working on it. I usually like hunker down and get so into my work that sometimes I can forget that it's fun. I'm so focused on getting it to where I want it to be that I'm not focusing on the journey of getting it there. And this experience has just absolutely showed me how beautiful that journey is and reminded me of that, because when I was little, I loved drawing just for the fact that I was drawing. It wasn't because it was perfect or anything like that. It was just because I liked it. And here is the final product. This is where I decided to call it quits and let it live on exactly as it is. If you like this video and you want to see more from me, feel free to subscribe or like. If you want to see me do another one of these videos with my left hand or any other challenges, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to watch another video, there should be one popping up right now. And I will see you in the next one.